Hello everyone, welcome to my update US gossip channel. At 23 years old, Aurora Brown is more than capable of making her own choices. She's a bright, level-headed, and compassionate young woman who has spent much of her life under the spotlight, first as Robin Brown's daughter from her previous marriage and then as a part of the broader Brown family when Robin married Kody. Aurora, who was once a shy, quiet teenager adjusting to life in a polygamous household, has grown into an independent adult. She's pursuing her own goals, exploring her faith, and forming relationships on her own terms. But for reasons only he seems to understand, Kody Brown refuses to treat Aurora like the adult she is. Fans were taken aback by how Kody's words and actions during Aurora's date seemed to reflect a total lack of awareness. Instead of allowing his daughter and her boyfriend a chance to enjoy each other's company, Kody inserted himself into the situation with unsolicited fatherly wisdom, the kind that made everyone watching cringe. Kody Brown can't let go of control. For years, Kody has been portrayed as a father who likes to have a say in every aspect of his children's lives, from their schooling to their social circles and, apparently, their dating experiences. However, as his adult children have begun moving out, starting families, and living on their own terms, fans have noticed that Kody's control seems to be slipping. That loss of authority might explain why he seemed so desperate to guide Aurora and Brody during their date. He likely sees this as a last-ditch opportunity to show his paternal wisdom, but the result was far from wise. Instead, it was a chaotic mixture of possessiveness, insecurity, and self-importance that left both Aurora and her boyfriend visibly uncomfortable. Kody's rambling advice that no one asked for. Before Brody even arrived at the house, Kody's behavior was already setting the stage for disaster. He began talking to Aurora about her boyfriend, but instead of showing curiosity about her happiness, he made the conversation about himself and his relationship with Robin. At one point, Kody looked at Aurora and asked if Brody looks at her the way Kody looks at Robin. The remark, clearly meant as an awkward attempt at humor, didn't land well with fans. Many took to social media to point out how inappropriate it was for a father to compare his daughter's budding romance to his own marriage. From there, things only got worse. Kody began dispensing his version of fatherly advice, built on the shaky foundation of his own marital history. As he explained during his confessional segment, "I'm just constantly reminding Aurora and Brody to take care because I don't want my kids fooling around." He continued, in a tone that felt more like a sermon than a conversation, "I say to these young men, almost always, your job is to protect my daughter, even from yourself. You're kissing another man's wife." Kody's bizarre philosophy. Just when fans thought the conversation couldn't get any stranger, Kody delivered what many now consider one of his most awkward quotes in Sister Wives history. "When you're just dating," Kody said, his face serious and his tone self-righteous, "you're kissing another man's wife until she's your wife." He went on to explain that if the woman a man dates doesn't eventually become his wife, then every kiss she receives is essentially one meant for her future husband. "If she doesn't become your wife," he continued, "you're kissing another man's wife." The reaction from viewers was immediate. Fans flooded social media with disbelief, wondering if Kody realized how uncomfortable and outdated his statement sounded. Even Robin, who often defends her husband's quirks, looked visibly uneasy as he tried to moralize the dating experience for two consenting adults. Aurora's expression, meanwhile, said it all. She looked mortified. Brody, polite and soft-spoken, seemed to struggle to find words that wouldn't offend Kody or make things worse. Brody's gift becomes a moment of chaos. The date might have recovered if Kody had stopped talking. Unfortunately, he didn't. When Brody arrived, he presented Aurora with a thoughtful gift, a small knife, which he explained was for her personal protection. It was a simple gesture, likely meant to show that he cared about her safety and respected her independence. But to Kody, the moment became another opportunity to lecture. Kody's eyebrows shot up as he fixated on the gift. "You gave her a knife?" he asked, his tone more suspicious than appreciative. Brody nodded, explaining that he wanted Aurora to have something for self-defense. But before he could elaborate, Kody jumped in with a bizarre twist. "Well, it's your job to protect her," Kody said sternly. "When you two are together, it's on you to keep her safe, even from yourself." The exchange turned increasingly awkward as Brody tried to navigate the strange line of questioning. He pointed out that Aurora could take care of herself and that the knife was just symbolic. But Kody wasn't satisfied. He kept pressing, asking how Brody planned to protect Aurora from himself, as if the young man posed some hidden danger. Robin, who had been silent for most of the encounter, finally intervened, her voice calm but firm. She attempted to change the subject, perhaps sensing that her husband's protective dad routine had gone too far. But the damage was done. Aurora's silent embarrassment speaks volumes. By the time the conversation wrapped, Aurora's face reflected a mix of humiliation and frustration. She clearly wanted to disappear into the floor. Fans could practically feel her mortification through the screen as Kody continued to hover, lecturing Brody like a schoolteacher scolding a student. Throughout the segment, Aurora's body language said everything she couldn't bring herself to say out loud. She avoided eye contact, forced polite smiles, and occasionally glanced at her mother as if silently begging Robin to intervene. Brody, meanwhile, sat uncomfortably with his hands clasped, nodding respectfully while Kody went on another tangent about morality and purity. Viewers pointed out that this wasn't just awkward, it was deeply invasive. Aurora is an adult woman, capable of setting her own boundaries and making her own choices. Kody's refusal to respect that independence felt more like a performance of control than genuine fatherly concern. Fans react, Kody made it all about him. After the episode aired, Sister Wives fans wasted no time sharing their opinions online. Reddit threads and Twitter timelines lit up with posts describing the encounter as the most uncomfortable date in reality TV history. One viewer tweeted, "Aurora and Brody's date could have been cute, but Kody made it into a weird sermon about his own failed marriages. Just let the kids be happy." Another wrote, "Kody talking about how Brody looks at Aurora the way he looks at Robin? Gross. He always makes everything about himself." Many fans agreed that Kody's need to center himself in every narrative, even his daughter's romantic life, has reached new heights. Others pointed out that his behavior seemed to reflect a deeper insecurity, a man who has lost control over his wives, his household, and his image, now clinging to his role as protector in a way that borders on absurdity. Robin Brown's role in the awkward encounter. To her credit, Robin appeared to recognize the train wreck unfolding in real time. Though she initially tried to remain neutral, her expressions throughout the scene revealed a mix of discomfort and disbelief. She occasionally jumped in to steer the conversation back to lighter topics, like Aurora's college plans or Brody's family background, but Kody always found a way to pull it back to his own views. Some fans suggested that Robin's silence was telling. For years, she's been portrayed as Kody's most loyal defender, often stepping in to explain or justify his actions. But in this instance, her patience seemed to wear thin. As Kody pressed Brody with increasingly awkward questions, Robin's tone turned sharper, her smile more strained. It's possible she knew how this would look on television, not just for Kody, but for Aurora. As the mother of a grown daughter trying to build a relationship, Robin must have felt a surge of second-hand embarrassment watching her husband turn a simple date into a parental interrogation. Kody's obsession with purity and control. The awkward encounter also reignited a broader discussion among Sister Wives fans about Kody's long-standing views on chastity, dating, and family control. For years, Kody has positioned himself as a moral authority within his family, often preaching about traditional values and personal restraint. However, as many have pointed out, Kody's track record in his own relationships doesn't exactly make him a beacon of wisdom. He's been through 3 divorces, alienated several of his children, and admitted on camera that his relationships with his older kids are strained or non-existent. Despite that, Kody continues to dole out guidance on relationships as if he's learned profound lessons from his failures. But in practice, it often comes across as tone-deaf and self-centered. When he told Brody that dating means kissing another man's wife, it didn't sound like a protective father's warning, it sounded like a man projecting his regrets and insecurities onto his daughter's happiness. The knife, the confusion, and the fallout. Perhaps the strangest moment of all came when Kody continued to fixate on the knife Brody gave Aurora. What should have been a sweet moment, symbolizing trust and protection, turned into an interrogation that no one could make sense of. Kody demanded to know what Brody would do if he ever became the threat from which Aurora needed protection. Brody, unsure how to respond, hesitated before saying, "She's got the knife." The exchange quickly devolved into confusion, with Kody and Brody talking in circles. Aurora tried to laugh it off, but the tension was palpable. Even Robin stepped in, gently redirecting the conversation, a move that fans applauded. Social media buzzed with reactions. Only Kody Brown could turn a knife gift into a philosophical crisis, one Reddit user joked. Another wrote, "Brody looked like he wanted the floor to open up and swallow him." Aurora and Brody, a couple trying to stay grounded. Despite the bizarre ordeal, Aurora and Brody handled the situation with grace. Their composure under pressure showed maturity and respect, even when the conversation went completely off the rails. Fans have praised Aurora for her poise. She didn't roll her eyes, she didn't storm off, and she didn't lash out. Instead, she maintained a level of dignity that stood in sharp contrast to her father's over-the-top energy. Brody, for his part, remained calm and polite, even when faced with questions that seemed impossible to answer. His body language showed that he was trying to be respectful, even though he probably wanted to escape. What this moment says about Kody Brown today. This latest incident with Aurora's date might seem small on the surface, but it reveals a lot about where Kody Brown